All right, question number 14. We want to evaluate the limit using L'Hopital's rule when it's convenient. All right, so we have the limit as x goes to infinity of x cubed over 8 times the quantity 7 divided by x minus sine of 7 divided by x. All right, so if we evaluate infinity, we plug infinity in, this part goes to infinity. And when I plug infinity in, this fraction goes to 0 minus sine. This whole thing goes to 0 again. So sine of 0 is also 0. So we get infinity times 0. So this is indeterminate. We are going to need to rewrite this so that it is in the indeterminate form. So I'm going to multiply this or write this as a negative exponent. So I have 0 over 0. Sine divided by 1 over x cubed divided by 8. Okay, so you just write 1 over that number. If you do keep, change, flip, this will go back. I'm sorry. This will simplify to on the bottom, keep, change, flip. This will be 8 over pi over 3. So we'll simplify one more time. Keep, change, well, not keep, change, flip, just 1 over a fraction, it flips. So we have 8 over x to the third. So at this point, if we're applying the limit, this top is going to be 0 minus 0, 0. The bottom fraction is going to 0, so we end up with 0 over 0. So now we can do L'Hopital's rule. So we're going to do derivative of the top and derivative of the bottom, and then see what we get. All right, so we have to do quotient rule. So think of this as 7x to the negative 1, and same thing on the bottom. I want to use power rule, but it's going to end up with the extra power in the denominator. So multiply by negative 1, so that'll give me a negative 7. And then subtract 1 from the x, so that'll be x squared. I'm going to put it on the bottom. And then minus derivative of sine is cosine of the argument. And then derivative of this, which we've just done, is going to be times a negative 7 over x squared. On the bottom, see this as 8 times x to the negative third. And then we will multiply by negative 3, which will give me a negative 24. And then subtract 1, so it'll be 8 or x to the fourth. Negative 24 x to the fourth. All right, we're going to simplify. So we have a 7 over x squared we can factor out. So this negative 7 over x squared, factor that out. That will leave me with 1 minus cosine of 7 over x. And then on the bottom we have a negative 24 over x to the 4th. Now we can get rid of 2 of these x's. We have 2 here and 2 here, so we can divide 2 of those out, and then that will leave us with, and negative over negative is a positive, so we can say positive 7 times 1 minus cosine 7 over x, all divided by negative 24 over x squared. Sorry, positive 24 over x squared would be positive. All right, so at this point, if we plug in infinity, this goes to 0. Cosine of 0 is 1, so we'll have 1 minus 1, which is 0, times 7. So this is still 0 on the top. If I plug in infinity on the bottom, 24 divided by a really big number is going to be 0, so I'll still have 0 over 0. So I'm going to need to do derivative again. So we're going to start doing derivative of this again. So we'll have 7 on the outside, the multiple, and then derivative of 1 is 0. Derivative of a constant is 0. Derivative of cosine is negative sign, so negative times a negative is a positive, so we'll get positive sine of 7x, and then derivative of this is a negative 7 over x squared, same as what we got before. And then on the bottom, treating this 24 as x as a negative second, just moving it up, so I can use power rule, times a negative 2, give me a negative 48. And then subtract 1, which will be a 3, negative 3, and then put it back down. So x to the 3rd. All right. Simplify. 7 times 7 is 49. Going to be a negative. I'm just going to get rid of the negative because negative over negative is going to be positive. So I'm going to say 49 sine 49 sine of 7 over x, and then I have all over x squared. And then on the bottom, we have 48 over x cubed. Again, I can take the 2 and divide out the 2 x's and divide out 2 from here, which will leave me with 1x. And so if I plug in infinity at this point, taking my limit, this will still give me 0. And then this will infinity on the bottom because 48 over infinity is 0. So I still got 0, 0. So I'm going to do the derivative again. So we have 49 sine of 7 over x. And we're looking at 48 over x. All right, so we're going to do derivative one more time. 49 is still going to stay 49, just a constant out front. The multiple. Derivative of sine is cosine. Argument 7 over x. Derivative is negative 7 over x squared. And then on the bottom, this 48x to the negative 1 is what I'm going to say. Times a negative. It's going to be a negative 48. Subtract 1, be a negative 2. Move it back down. So x squared. All right. So we're going to start simplifying. X squared will cancel out the x squared. Negative will cancel out the negative. 7 times 50. I'm going to go up 1 and then subtract 7. 7 times 50, 350. Subtract 7, so 343. So we're looking at 343 cosine 7 over x all over 48. All right, so now again we're going to take the limit. So we're taking the limit. So if we plug in infinity, this goes to 0. Cosine of 0 is 1 from unit circle. So 343 times 1 is 343 over 48. 343 over 48 is what we believe this limit to be. Had to do L'Hopital's rule 3 times. Let's check that out. That's good.